Here we are, recording Two Guys Talking. Now, today, we're going to talk about how Terry stays so current with his music. Um, I'm always amazed at how much new stuff you know, and my knowledge ends at a certain period. I just I don't have the bandwidth to listen
Mm.
to new stuff. So, and I always get I pick it up from you and people like Kevin Alexander and so on.
Man, Kevin is such a great resource, by the way.
Yeah,
I know he's an air traffic controller or something. And
I know he works at an airport. That's all I
yeah,
know.
that's all I know too. Kevin, if you're listening, we don't know how you do it, but if you are a controller, we're a little worried about the flights coming in and out of your airport because we know you spend a lot of time on music.
Yeah, right.
It's just a funny thing. And I have a friend in town maybe 20, 25 years ago, and he's still this way. He seems stuck in the 60s.
Hmm.
He will listen to band. He did like REM. He does like the Jayhawks.
Oh, okay.
So he's not and he likes Radiohead. So that's the biggest anomaly for me for his taste. But you would think that music began and ended when the Beatles started and the Beatles disbanded. And while he understands the Rolling Stones are big and he likes them to a certain extent, they're just not the Beatles for him. And so he has followed every solo Beatles act.
Okay.
He even got himself a made up cover of the Butcher album, the Yesterday and Today Beatles record with the Butcher cover that if you actually have one, you've got a wealth sitting that you're sitting on. But he had one made up because he's so obsessed with the Beatles.
What's
I
the
love it.
butcher? I don't know what that is.
So if you see the Yesterday and Today, they're all sitting. They're sitting on some luggage, but the Butcher cover is they are like dressed as butchers and they've slaughtered a bunch of animals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Good Lord.
I don't understand it, but there it is.
I don't get it.
No, it's ungettable. Um, and so I tried to get him to listen to things that I like. He loves 60s bands. He loves the Byrds. He loves Buffalo Springfield. They're great bands. I love them too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you wanted to talk to him about the Replacements, he wouldn't have any idea. Just wouldn't have any idea. He might know Wilco, our two polar extremes here. He might know Wilco, but he would. When I talk to him about the drive-by truckers, he's just confused, and he does. he
I hope
doesn't
he's not
under,
going to listen to this.
No, he won't. He won't. He's coming over for dinner tomorrow night, so I am cooking for him and his
Okay.
wife. And uh, he would probably laugh at it too. But he would get on. He would just go crazy and say, "Well, they are the best thing. They're just once you have them, what else do you need?" And on some level, and he likes Dylan, so they're. But anyway, he's my inspiration. If I needed inspiration for, you can't be stuck in just this period. You
Right.
have to keep up because, well, you don't have to, but there's really, really good music out there. And my resources tend to be either reading things on the Riff or some of the other pubs on Medium, or I have subscriptions to No Depression magazine and
Okay.
Americana Highways. And every now and then I will actually even look at Pitchfork just to see. But other than that, I drive so much because my work is 45 minutes from here. And so I'm in the car a
Oh.
lot.
Oh, okay.
So I just keep changing the dial on my Sirius XM platform from independent rock to Little Steven's Underground Garage to um, outlaw country. And there seems like there's one other station there. Anyway, I just keep rotating around because I want to know what's out there. And because I do that, I've learned about bands from, well, Cindy Lee, who's one of my big favorites right now, to, oh gosh, names are escaping me. Um, Well, we'll come back to that when I think of Maisie Owen. Yeah, I think Maisie Owen, I might have mentioned her to you. And all sorts of things in between that I just wouldn't know about. So I try to remember everything, and then I look them up, and then I download them, and I listen to them. And I've just discovered so many great artists that way. And I know that it's just the tip of the iceberg, too.
I find myself just so overwhelmed by everything that it's just when I get overwhelmed, I shut down and be like, all right, I'm not gonna. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I get it. I get that. Sometimes when I go to the record store, I'm completely overwhelmed because I don't know if I don't have anything specific. Then I just start ping ponging back and forth, and to the point where I'll buy something stupid just because I feel like I should.
Now you do a
But
good
that
job
doesn't
of
happen often.
chronicling what you do a good job of chronicling what you buy.
Yeah, I love doing that,
Yeah.
even though sometimes it can be really tedious to go through it all. But if I were to go back, and I have them all marked, if I were to go back and look at everything, I think I would be amazed at myself at what I actually find.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it is amazing to go to stores and start digging through the crates and see what people have sold back. So those are usually things I'm trying to maybe fill in a collection for. The new stuff I will download first and listen to it, and if I really love it, then I'll go buy a vinyl copy of it.
okay. Is that what you did with this band? It's a band, right? Cindy Lee.
It's really one guy, Patrick Flegel,
Okay.
and I'm sure he has help, but he plays all the guitar parts and he sings, and he has a stage act, Cindy Lee, where he I don't know, I know he's transgender, but I don't know how far along the process he is. And so his take is to, I think at first, do the act as the female he believes he is. And where he goes from there, I don't know. But they've actually got several records from the past that I haven't heard. I have two of his records right now, or their records. And I find it just sensational guitar playing, very moody, very Twin Peaks-ish, if you like the music in Twin Peaks. But much more accessible than you might think from an indie person who refuses to be streamed.
Huh. Oh, that's right. You can't stream any of his stuff.
Only on Bandcamp,
Okay.
but otherwise you have to buy the record, which is fine with me. That's what I live for. I was trying to remember really where I heard about. I think that album Diamond Jubilee was just making everyone's 2024 best list, and I don't know where I first heard of it, but I thought, okay, let me see what this is like. But then you couldn't listen to it except on if someone had a live recording somewhere. And so I thought, all right, well, I'm just going to roll the dice and see whether I like it, because I have all this Social Security money that I don't know what to do with.
You're rolling in dough.
I'm rolling in it. The government is paying me to do this. So I got it, and not only was I mesmerized by it, but it's another one where my wife walked in and that's just beautiful.
Oh,
and
nice.
Half the time or more than half the time, she really doesn't know what she's hearing or what I'm playing, and she won't remember it. She just knows that she finds it beautiful, as she says.
That's great. Now, do you rely just on American publications? Because you listed the ones that you read. Do you ever read like Mojo or NME or something like that?
I used to do more of that than I do, and I would probably, now that I've got more time on my hands than I've had in the past, I probably will start turning to those publications too. I think there's one, I think it's Far Out is a site that just pumps stuff, all sorts of music at me. But I've wanted to look more at NME, and I used to read Paste all the time. And
Okay.
I think Paste still exists online.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will. The other thing is just to read the online pubs on Medium and to see what other people are discovering and listening to. And if it's someone like, if you were to write, for instance, on a new band that you heard, I would go listen to it immediately. Same with Kevin. There's some other people on Medium who I follow that are just really good at also keeping up with fresh stuff. I also, really my ulterior motive, if there is an ulterior motive, is that I might feel old and I might look old from time to time, more so today perhaps than yesterday. But I don't want to be old. And one of the ways to not be old is to be able to converse with people about what's current so that my daughters and I can talk about, that's how I got into Casey Musgraves.
Okay.
I probably told you, or that's why I refuse to dismiss someone like Taylor Swift, because my daughters love her. And so if they love her, then I think, well, when I was their age and younger, if I tried to talk my parents into listening to Bruce Springsteen, my mother would have probably thought, well, this is interesting, but that would have been it. And my dad would have just looked at me like I'm nuts. I don't want my daughters to look at me like that any more than they probably do.
They might already, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. They did buy me a new turntable for my birthday. It's gorgeous.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Only it's very sensitive, so I've got to do a much better job of keeping my records clean and the needle cleaned.
All right.
Yeah, very touchy.
Now, you don't rely on Substack at all then, outside of Kevin's?
Sometimes I think, if I pronounce his name right, Jeremy Shatton, is that, do you know him?
I do. I think I follow him on Substack.
Yeah, I read his stuff, and there are a few others, maybe Dan Epstein.
Okay.
So there are a few others, and I'll read their Substacks, and it might have been Jeremy or Dan who first mentioned Cindy Lee, for all I can remember.
Okay.
I think there's S.W. Loudon's Power Pop side is really good, and so I'll look at those, but I do get overwhelmed like you do, and it's hard to keep all the information just in my head. And I'm bad about writing things down.
Why? What do you mean?
Why? Well, I'm good at writing things down if I know that I want to write about it. I will make notes. But when I'm just reading along, I usually don't want to take the time. I want to read this because there's something else I want to read. And I would be a whole lot. It was the same thing if I kept a spreadsheet of all the albums that I have. I wouldn't keep buying duplicates. And so were I to actually take notes more, I would certainly be able to keep up more with, how do I know this name?
Okay.
Like I was talking to a friend. Have you seen the movie Masked and Anonymous?
No.
I hadn't heard of it, but it's a film that's basically, it was made in 2003, and it's kind of a satire. But Bob Dylan's all over the film, and he and his band play in it. But it's almost a cult film if you can find it. And I keep forgetting about it. But yesterday I ran across 2 different publications that mentioned it. And so when that happened, I thought, okay, I better just make a note of this, or I'm going to keep forgetting this. And when I read about it again, I'll go, oh yeah. Why didn't I don't know.
Now, how do you keep track of all your records then? Well, first of all, how many records would you say you have? I have probably, I don't know, a few hundred.
I would say I have roughly 2,000.
Wow. Okay.
And I was in a store my brother and I were in a store the other day, and I found this this old Rolling Stones album. It was an album that their label put out after they had switched labels. I would tell you what the name of it is if I could only remember it. Somewhere back in the 70s. And I didn't know much about this album until I read their recent biography. And lo and behold, there it was. And so I'm just going crazy. I'll look at this. And there was a guy standing there, and he was about my age, looking through stuff too. And we started talking. And he catalogs all his on Discogs. And he says he has about 5,000. And I kept thinking, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And you obviously do it methodically when you get something. And so I thought about doing it, then I got overwhelmed, which is the word for the day. I do have a list of my old country records, my Loretta Lynn's, my Tammy Wynette's, my George Jones, but it doesn't stop me from buying something I already have. So you can make a list, but will you consult the list?
You found yourself purchasing the same thing twice.
I now have 3 copies of a Sammy Smith album, and I'm probably the only person in the world who has 3 copies of this. And I promise you, I didn't do it just because I love that album. But every time I see it, I pick it up and go, I don't think I have this. And I get home. And the only reason she's so great is that she covered, or actually made a hit out of Help Me Make It Through the Night back in the early 70s. And back then, I didn't know that was a Chris Christopherson song. And it was a hit on the radio, a crossover country song that was just gorgeous. And when I started writing on crossover genre music, I thought about that song and thought it'd be really great to find that particular record, which I found in a thrift store for $1.
Wow.
And it actually had photographs in it, Sammy Smith promo photographs. So someone, I don't know how or what, but when I went down the rabbit hole about her, I found out that she was also married to a musician who played for Willie Nelson, and they had a child that they named Waylon for Waylon Jennings, and that child is a guy named Waylon Payne, who's playing music even now, plays with Willie Nelson's band, and is a crossover in the sense that he is a gay country singer. And he's got a couple of new songs out. And the only way I would have known he has new songs out is I was listening to Outlaw Country one day, and they played his new songs, which are really cool. So I guess there's another album coming out. But he's an eccentric and really great singer, a great songwriter. If you're in a good mood, you probably don't want to listen because he's a downer.
Oh.
But a downer in the way that I like downers, to make you think of, the stuff you should think of, and when you know that the world is more complex than it might seem.
Here's a question apropos of nothing, but I guess I read something recently on whether or not Ryan Adams will have a comeback. What do you think about that? Again, for those listening, I'm saying Ryan, not Brian.
Seems like to me that he's playing somewhere near me, but I'll just tell you what I keep hearing from people who talk about him. I was never a huge Ryan Adams fan. I don't own any of his music, even before all the scandals with women. But when I hear people talking about Ryan Adams, and it's particularly women, I don't know. I don't know enough about it, and I'm not reading enough about to whether he's rehabilitating himself or not. So I'm not sure what I hope, but I'm probably not going to pay a whole lot of attention to him.
Yeah, I was a big fan, and when all the hoopla went down, and it left a sour taste in my mouth. And I don't think he's rehabilitating himself.
Yeah,
I don't see that at all. I think what few clips I've seen, he still seems pretty defiant.
Yeah. Well, in the age we're living in now, many prominent male figures are following the lead of the person I won't name, who is defiant all the way through, right, about anything.
Yeah.
And he even supports and goes to bat for people. If you're a Democrat and you have abused women, you'll probably get his support. You'll be the Democrat that he might even support. That's the way this is going.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with music other than the Ryan Adams thing.
No, other than the Ryan Adams thing.
The other thing I do to try to keep everything alive, and my brother and I have been having a great time doing this. I've been doing a one-hit wonder series on, I think it's on Rock On, the pub that Alex Markham has started and taken over. And when you start looking at bands and acts who only had that one hit, it's pretty amazing how many there are and how good some of those songs are. And you start wondering, well, what happened afterwards? And so now I want to hear more music right now, in part because who are the one-hit wonders out there right now? Who do we imagine they're going to be?
That's a great question.
I don't have an answer for it at this point.
It seems like one-hit wonders are a thing of the past. Like now it's like pop superstardom, or you're off on the fringes.
Well, that is true.
Off on the fringes. That's what that would be.
Yeah. Does anyone really keep up with the Billboard Hot 100 anymore?
No. The last time I looked, it could have been an iChart for all I cared.
Well, of course, in the 60s and 70s, there were many Hot 100 charts, pop, R&B, country, and then it got into, adult alternative or whatever, and just recategorizing and splitting up everything. I don't know what they do right now. I would have no idea what the number one song in the country is right now. But this is where I kind of feel like I'm falling short. If I were to ride in the car with one of my daughters, they would be, flipping around Sirius XM. None of the stations they would listen to would be the stations I listen to. They might listen to outlaw country every now and then, but they would be more likely to listen to Y2K country or prime country, whatever that is, the highway, or they would listen to the hits, whatever channel that is on Sirius. And if they put that on, I'd be lost. And partly I might want to be lost because I don't like a lot of that music, but what am I missing would be my question. I'm surely missing something.
I can tell you the number one single for the week of August 15th is Choosin' Texas by Ella Langley.
See, now I know that record. I know that.
You do?
Yeah. I know that partly because of my daughters, but I think Outlaw Country played that, and I think they really promoted a lot. And there might have been someone else who wrote about it recently. I don't know. This is where I don't know, but I have heard it. It's the first couple of times I heard it, I thought, yeah, that's a sweet song. I kind of like that. But then it got lost for me, it got way too popular, way too fast. And then I started thinking, so why is this any better than, oh my God, Casey Musgraves or Maren Morris, people who don't quite get the attention. Casey Musgraves does, but Maren Morris, I think, gets lost and she's a good songwriter and a good singer.
Never, but they're all her.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have either. But when my daughters said, you really ought to start hearing some of this, the female country singers, not all of them, but many of them are really worth hearing. And not only are they worth hearing on their own right, but they are much more worth hearing than the Morgan Wallens of the world. Do you know who Morgan Wallen is?
I know the name. Yeah, I don't know his music. I only know the name. Why you're shaking your head? Why?
He's he is even a worse part of the bro country movement because let's see, is he a closet racist or is he a pretend racist or is he just part of the mainstream of male America who doesn't really care anymore and seems to wear saying what they want to say, even if it offends deeply others on his sleeve. So I find him
Okay.
I find most male country, mainstream country stars
There's a guy I just read about in the New York Times this weekend, Billy Strings. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm. That is right. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of him?
I haven't listened enough, but he weirdly played about 30 minutes from me and some of my friends went to see him and loved him, thought he was, and these friends are a little more discerning, but they thought it was a great time, really liked him. So he is on my radar as someone I haven't paid enough attention to. But see, here's how I can feel inadequate. You know who Sturgill Simpson is?
Sure.
Okay, so he came to Charlotte right before COVID. It was one of the last shows before COVID. I think he played one more show, then he actually got COVID.
Oh, wow.
And so everything got shut down. But we were lucky enough, even though my wife and her sister and some other friends were going, you guys don't need to be in an arena with all these other people. And if you do, you should wear masks. We're going, you're just trying to spoil our fun, aren't you? And I swear to God, Keith, right in front of me, 2 rows in front of me, some guy got really violently sick during the Sturgill Simpson show. And I've thought about that. I did not get COVID. No one in my family in that moment got COVID. But what I really wanted to say is the opening act that night was a guy named Tyler Childers.
I know that name.
Yeah, he is so good, but I didn't know anything about him. And when I went to the show and heard he was going to be the opening act, I thought, okay, this is something I'm going to have to sit through. And he was so good. In fact, in some ways, he was better than Sturgill Simpson. And since then, I've started listening to his records. He's got one of it, not his latest one, but he had one not too long ago, basically, Can I Take My Hounds to Heaven? I probably missed that by a little bit, but it's something about taking your hounds to heaven, which, of course, is something I've wanted to, if there is a heaven, there's something I wanted to do all my life with all my dogs. And I've thought, if they're not up there, I don't want to be there.
That's for sure.
And I still pretty much feel that way. So I wouldn't have known him if Sturgill Simpson, who I did know, hadn't played and had him on the bill. And my kids already knew about him. And my son-in-law loves him. So this is how, okay, I could say, well, he's contemporary country. Why should I listen? But if I totally dismiss it, then I'm the one who's missing. And that's what I vow not to do, at least to give these things a chance. So I gave Morgan Wallen a chance, and I don't like him. There you go.
All comes back. There we go. Fair enough. Fair enough. What advice would you have for somebody who feels overwhelmed?
Well, I think just doing what you are doing by saying, why don't we talk about something that I think maybe would be worth talking about and would maybe help me know some things, and not necessarily with me, but just someone that you like who's a music buddy. What are you listening to? And really listen to what they're listening to. Listen to them talk about it, and then listen to it and see why they like something. Even if it's something I don't think I'll like, and I'm very prejudiced, obviously, about certain things. If a student of mine, for instance, okay, so 8 or 9 years ago, whenever Phoebe Bridgers first hit it big with Punisher, okay. So I just asked my students, who are you guys listening to? And this one student said, Phoebe Bridgers, you got to listen to her. And I'd never heard of Phoebe Bridgers, so I thought, okay, if you like her, I'm going to listen to her, and just loved her. She's got a brand new album coming out tomorrow. I'm not sure that I'm rushing out to buy it tomorrow, but I'm going to listen to it and see. So these are upper level students that I like, students whose writing I appreciated, whose thoughtfulness I appreciated. So why wouldn't I listen to what they like? So that for me it will cease to be a good resource in another 8 months, but it was a good resource. And I think really just other friends. So because my friends went to hear Billy Strings, now I feel like, okay, I need to pay more attention and maybe listen. So I think talking to people is a great thing to do, and just seeing what they like and why they like what they like. They better have good reasons. They better be articulate.
Now, you just said you had biases. You had some strong biases or something to that effect. I've read enough of your writing. Seems to me like almost everything.
I try to like as much as I can possibly like in as many genres that there are to like.
Okay.
However, uh, I don't, there is something in every genre that I don't like. And there are genres, for instance, I can listen to gospel music. I just bought a Mahalia Jackson album used a couple of weeks ago because my wife said, we need more gospel. And I thought, you're right. That's really beautiful music. It's gorgeous. It's soulful. But I will not and refuse to listen to anything smacking of contemporary Christian music. I can't do it. I find it, I find it kind of offensive.
Really? Why's that?
I find it offensive lyrically because the lyrics are usually no good. They're usually very obvious. And they're all pointing in the same direction.
Okay.
But I also just feel like the message behind this, if the message were behind it were, boy, we really need to come together as a society. We need to really love each other. And it doesn't matter what your religious belief is, fine. But like any other group intent upon making you believe or wanting you to believe what they believe or condemning you if you don't believe it or having as an agenda, this is, we know the truth and you need to come join us or you won't know the truth. I can't go there. And if that would be true in any religious form of music or advocacy, but it just so happens I live in a part of the country that's saturated with things like His Radio.
I don't know what that is.
Do you want to?
Well, I can sort of surmise what it is.
Well, it's the station that I guess in their point of view, he really is listening, but it's the kind of music he would want you to listen to if you were listening to music. And not only is there a basic His Radio, but there's a His Praise radio station. And the way I know that is because my dentist plays it in the dentist office. Oh. And Keith, is there anything worse than having someone stick their hands in your mouth, hitting nerves, all the while that you're listening? This is what happened in A Clockwork Orange when they were trying to reprogram Alex. Yeah. It wasn't Beethoven they were forcing him to listen to. It was this.
Oh, man. That would be awful.
So I also can't listen to gangster rap. Just can't do it. Mm-hmm. I find it offensive. I love old rap. I mean, old school rap. I love Wu-Tang Clan. I love A Tribe Called Quest. I love Run DMC. I love Jeffrey Harvey's writing about these bands on the Riff. So I will listen. I will really give it a listen. And I want to like a lot of it. I even listened to Lil Wayne for a while and thought, okay, that's okay. But I don't want, just like I don't want to listen to extreme hardcore metal. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So yeah, those are my biases.
That's fair. Speaking of the Riff, I never know when the album discussion is. Is it the last Sunday of every month?
No, it always changes. And the reason it changes is that sometimes I can't be there to run the Zoom. And sometimes the person who wants to lead it has specific dates that they can and can't. Or it could be that one of our key members like Jeffrey or Jessica McMillan has something else on a certain date. And so we want to try for those people who show up, we want to try to be inclusive and do it when they can keep doing it. Right. So the only way to know is to look at the top of the Riff, and usually Kevin has pinned who's leading it and when the date is, but he can only do that if that person makes the choice soon enough. And I can tell you right now, Charles from San Francisco is his name on the riff. He has just posted his article, and the next one's not until September. I think it's the 17th.
Okay.
But yeah, just go to the Riff's homepage and look, and that's the best way. Or you can just message me and I'll tell you.
Well, yeah, I can do that too. But for those listening,
yeah, it is hard to keep up with because it can't be set, just can't.
No,
And the one this in September is Charles is put together a compilation of contemporary Japanese music.
well, all right.
That left you speechless.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Charles listens to a lot of Korean music and Japanese music, but then he also listens to weird Nordic kind of music. But he got me listening to this woman, Anna von, I'd have to look at her name, Anna von Houseven or something.
Okay.
And I loved her when I heard her. So Charles loves to go all around the world listening to music. And I wouldn't know any of it if it weren't for him.
Yeah. No, for sure. What else you got?
Well, I just wrote a story today about concept albums.
Oh, did you publish it?
It is coming on the Riff. Kevin, I just got the email right before we came on that it's, I got the accepted email. So I don't know when it's coming, but I picked 4 concept albums and I don't understand these records. I never did understand them. These are older records, but at the time they kind of, what I want to say, they kind of put me off the bands. I just thought, I don't get what you're doing here. Of course, I was only 15 or 16, and
Right.
Why would I on one level? So I'll just tease you with the first one I wrote about is Jethro Tull's Thick as a Brick. And that was the album that band did right after Aqualung, which was a record I liked very much. It was the first kind of harder rock album I think I even bought.
Okay.
And Aqualung has some issues. Lyrically, there's some things that are really, really creepy. But nevertheless, the music is good. It's made up of songs that in some ways tie together, but are asking some really serious questions, I think, but also just good rock and roll. Thick as a Brick is supposedly a parody of the concept album, which I find just hysterical because since it is a concept album and since it is asking you to do the very things you would have to do in any other concept album, except theoretically they're not taking themselves seriously. And yet we're talking about 35, 40 minutes of music that's one continuous song.
Yeah, that one side is, I don't get it.
No. So that's what I wrote about. And it's not that I hate these bands. And, but I just couldn't understand what was happening and why it needed to happen, because I thought that, although I will say, and this will be the last thing I'll say about it, is that I applaud and appreciate any artist who's trying to grow and stretch herself, himself, themselves.
Okay.
Because I do understand you don't want to stagnate. To go back to the Beatles, you just couldn't have taken 10 years of I Want to Hold Your Hand. You just couldn't.
No.
And so, but people wanted it to be there. You couldn't have taken Bob Dylan 60 years of just doing folk music. How many times could you rewrite The Times They Are A-Changin'?
Yeah.
He needed to go electric. He needed to grow. He needed to expand. So that I appreciate. But I think we do have to recognize failure when it's there. Or we have to say, this is where I couldn't follow you. And I'm just being honest. I might offend people. I don't know. I'm not trying to, but I'm just trying to write stories on the Riff that get people talking.
Yeah. No, and you do. I love reading your stuff.
Thank you.
I wish you published more on Substack, but
yeah. by the time I write on just Medium, then I'm worn out.
Yeah.
So I should probably just link more of what I'm doing on Medium to Substack so that, I don't know, that would benefit other people. Would it benefit other people?
It would benefit me.
Well, I would like to benefit you, so I will try to do that.
Cool.
Because I like these discussions with you. I find them very cool. And we do get one or two people actually responding to us. So we're not the only ones who think this is cool.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything you're on sabbatical right now this semester? Are you doing anything for that?
Well, our book, I've written a book
right.
with a colleague. So we've done all the proofreading. They will send us one more pass at it to make sure we can catch anything that's wrong. But then we're moving into the designing the cover and coming up with all that. And so that's really not a lot for me to do or my partner to do. But we are trying to think about how can we, do you want to be our publicist, by the way? Would you be a good publicist?
I wouldn't know the first thing, but I could certainly.
Well,
other than writing a press release and getting you on blogs, getting you on podcasts.
We can't say it would be a full-time job, but we could say we could, supplement your income a little bit. If, we're really looking for someone to help because I don't know how to promote anything and my partner doesn't. And that's not what I like doing. Now it's University of Alabama Press. So obviously they'll be doing some things.
Yeah, I would imagine. But
yeah, getting on people's blogs, just stirring up talk about it. And it really isn't just a book about football either.
No,
it's of course it's about football and why people are fanatics, but we both are writing some weird stuff about what football has done to us personally and to our families. So there are a lot of kind of creative nonfiction stories within it that make it seem like people are even greater idiots than you might already think they are when it comes to a sport like this and what you're willing to do.
Wow. That's saying something.
Yeah. I'm also still waiting to find out if my proposal to write a book in the 33 1/3 series has been accepted or not.
And refresh my memory, what was that on again?
I've proposed Tammy Wynette's DIVORCE.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think I should be hearing any day. My doom and gloom outlook is they're probably going to reject it, which on one level, okay, I don't have to do that, but I kind of want to do that.
Right.
So I hope they do accept it, and that will give me something else to do. But other than that, my only projects are to watch my grandchildren grow, which is, of course, happening all the time.
Right. That's a good project.
Yeah, it really is. And then we'll just see what happens. What else comes up?
Well, cool. And then it's one more semester of teaching.
That's right. I shouldn't sigh about it because it's all been so great, but it's time for it to be done. And I kind of wish I could just jump over that part because it's going to be bittersweet for sure. And
yeah,
I don't really want to have to deal with the bitter part of it. I just want the sweetness.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for another guy, for these two guys. We did it again.
40-something minutes seems to go quickly when I'm the one doing most of the talking, of course.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind. I don't have that much to say. But I will say, when I do have something to say, I'll say it.
Well, next time we'll figure out something for you to take the ball and run as far as long as you can.
It's fine by me.
I'll come up with some questions for you.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Until then.
Okay. Thanks.